Hey there, my name is Matt Marash.
And I'm Tariq Tarey.
And today I'm in Tariq's studio here at Milo Arts in downtown Columbus, Ohio. And we're here to talk all things medium format, but specifically Kodak's Gold 200, now available in medium format, 120.
Exciting times to be alive, I tell you.
It's pretty awesome.
It is.
So Tariq, you've been shooting a lot longer than I have. When did you start?
I started in 2002, so this is my 20th year of film photography. Hasselblad was my first medium format 2.8, so amazing cameras, and film was abundant back then.
I started with film in like 2009, but 2010 I really got going because that's when I picked up this guy right here, my Hasselblad 500C.
The best.
The really old classic one, and it's still doing just as great as it was when I picked it up 12 years ago.
Unbelievable.
But that's not the only thing that we're here to talk about today is the history of photography. Every single one of these cameras here, they all take the same type of film, which is medium format. So if you've never shot medium format before, this is a larger size roll film than what you would run through like a 35mm camera. It doesn't have sprockets, it just has this paper called your backing paper, and it pulls it across through each one of these cameras.
And these are all tools, but they give you a different outcome at the end of the day.
So on our 645, we get 15 shots per roll. On our 6x6, we get 12 shots per roll. But it's square, so unless you're posting it square, you may end up cropping, so that's why the different aspect ratios can really help. We've got 6x7, which take us down to 10 shots per roll, but if you're doing something like an 8x10 print or a magazine cover, well, you're already there. It's pretty good. And then if you like the 35mm aspect ratio, we have 6x9, which gives us 8 shots per roll, and then 4 on this guy.
Also, either you're printing or you scan it, the quality is absolutely superior to many other formats.
So Tariq, we each had a roll of Gold 120.
Right.
And which look did you end up going for of the spread of medium format cameras here we have on the table?
The Mamiya RZ67. It just gives you that classic portrait look, and it's the 8x10 feel rather than a square format. Amazing lens, the 110, the classic.
Oh, nice.
And we lit it with one light and a bounce, and we had a wonderful friend, Amber, who helped us out, and it was a great time. So we did 2 looks. We did it in the classical 45-degree light, beautiful soft light. We also did the hard light. So yeah, so basically a strobe, you put it up as high as you can go for your studio can allow it, and you tilt it down and you just bare bulb. You let it fly. But what we did was we controlled it by using flags, and that was his classic thing that he likes to do. We did it right here, and I tell you, I was absolutely surprised how the film held up to this extreme light control. I wanted to see what the shadows will look like, what the highlights would look like, and also what a darker skin, how the film will retain those things. Yeah,
one of the first things I noticed looking at some of those awesome scans that Midwest did for us with their super scans, the lack of, like, it wasn't magenta forward like a lot of portrait films were, but it was accurate, but it was warm at the same time. It's hard to describe. Like, your green backdrop is still nice and green, but like it's just got that little bit of warmth.
I obviously shoot some digital, and anytime that I shoot digital, I try my best to make it look like the color film. And to see the film, when I first saw the scans that you showed me, to see it that exactly come out the way it's in my head, it's amazing. I am honestly astonished, and I can't wait to shoot more of this film. When we took it to the light table, and when you showed me the scans, I could barely see any grain. So it's surprisingly a good film, man.
Yeah, and it's cheaper. It's coming in a little bit under what we're seeing, the Portras, Ektars, so yeah, if you're just getting into medium format, or you're looking for an excuse to shoot medium format film, Gold is gonna be a great entry point to that. And here in Columbus, Ohio, you can take it to Midwest Photo. They're kind of a start to finish. They sell the cameras, they do the processing, they do the scanning, and you can get stuff printed there. So it's really like a one-stop shop.
20-year veteran of that place, so I know they do all of that, and great people to talk to.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to try out some more. So I am not really well known for my portraits, but landscape has been the main thing I've been focusing on probably the last decade of shooting. So being the guy that normally hauls around a giant 8x10-inch view camera, what's the limiting thing I can put myself into in medium format? Midwest was generous enough to let me try out this bad boy that was hanging out in the used department. So this is the Fuji G617. Now this one is 6x17, meaning it takes a giant 6 centimeter by 17 centimeter wide panoramic image. But the downside, you get 4 shots per roll. So I did what I almost do automatically if I wake up too early in the morning. I drove down to Hocking Hills, went down to Old Man's Cave right at sunrise, and hiked around with this. But this felt like a point and shoot camera compared to what I'm normally carrying. It was so light and awesome.
I love it though. I mean, did your back thank you since you're not carrying that 8x10 that you usually carry around?
Yes, in fact, I got a little bit riskier because I had so much more freedom to roam around on the trails. But I love it because it feels handheld, but I never shoot it handheld. It was pretty dark. So I did have the tripod. A lot of the exposures I did were on the longer side, so they floated between, I would say, like 6 seconds and then 2 seconds at the end.
Wow.
So my first shot was 6 seconds, my last shot was 2 seconds, and that makes sense, the sun was coming up. But I went through the middle falls and lower falls portion of the trail, got that flowing water, and yeah, I really, really liked how well the Gold kept that sense of light there. It's, you know, down in Hocking Hills, it's like this big valley. Right. So all of the light coming in is usually one even wash, but the little bit of extra warmth from the film really helped it out.
I'm always afraid when I ever shoot landscape, which I hardly do, always my panic is how does the film translate from high to that? So how did this film hold up?
So since Kodak Gold 200 is a negative style film, I treated it the way all negative films like to be treated. When in doubt, give it a little bit more exposure. I made sure I got all of that shadow information. I brought my tiny little spot meter and I measured my shadows to make sure I had enough information there. It's really tempting to want to go handheld and underexpose things, but when you've only got 4 pictures and you want them to come out right, I brought the tripod out and I made sure I gave it plenty of that exposure. So the highlights were still there, even being, you know, 2-3 stops over what you might do to handhold it. Right. But all the information was there. It had a really nice warm wash to it, which helped really, really well with some of that blue and cyan that comes from the water. It was so much fun. So thanks again to Kodak for letting us try out some Kodak Gold, and big thanks to Midwest Photo for letting us play around with some awesome cameras, taking care of processing, and you know, if you have any questions for MPEX, you can check them out at www.mpex.com. And for printing, you can check them out at Midwest Photo Pix, that's pix.com.